sit and listen to me. This is a get some stuff done class. So pull out some paper. You're going to take some notes, not about what I'm saying, but we're going to talk about how you're going to be clear on your unique value proposition. We talk about this all the time. How you stand out in a crowded market of lenders and realtors, right? So we're trying to get beyond generic offerings. Like a lot of us, when we say what makes us unique, it's a generic offering. Does that make sense to you? It's something that like all realtors and lenders do. So we got to really learn to define what truly sets us apart, right? That's what we need to do. So, you know, for us, it's like, how do I prove I'm not just another agent, right? What makes me different? Why should someone choose me? And you guys need to think about that too. Lenders and realtors, this market is crowded. Like I know we have like 1,600 realtors that are in our area, right? And I'm not in a big area. So you guys have lots of realtors, you have lots of lenders. And frankly, we do the same, right? Like we sell houses, we list houses, we work with buyers. You guys do mortgages. I'm not trying to make it simple, but frankly, like, you know, we offer a similar service. So how do we make that stand out? So I want you to think about it like, so your unique value proposition. I think people get confused a little bit. So I want you to think, it's not what you do, like we are realtors, right? But it's how you do it. So our unique proposition is not what we do, but how we do it, who we do it for, and why it matters to them. Does that make sense? So I want you to think about this, how you do it, who you do it for, why does it matter for them? Because we've got to be clear on who our ideal client is, right? And then we're promising like a specific value to that client that sets us apart from our competitors. Okay, so it matters because to me, I want to attract my ideal clients, right? And I want to say no to the wrong clients. And I would think that that's, I mean, maybe as time's gone by, that's become more clear, but it's like, I'm not everyone's realtor and that's okay. And I'm not, when we try to be everything to everybody, we're like nothing to nobody. Does that make sense? Like when you just, I am the realtor for everyone. I'm not, right? And I talk to you guys a lot. It's like, you have to be clear first who your ideal clients are. So that's your own exercise as well. But it also commands, it shows that I can command my value. If you're my ideal client and I offer you a service that matters to you and makes your life better, right, in buying or selling a home, then that means that I can command my value, that they're not going to challenge me. Because by the way, my ideal client's going to pay me. So I talk to people all the time. I'm like, who's your ideal client? They're like, well, anyone that needs to buy or sell. Really? Anyone that needs to buy or sell? Anyone. Okay. So for you lenders, it's like, shouldn't they have a certain credit score, right? I mean, like there's some basics, right? They need to sell or buy. They want to pay me. They appreciate service, right? They appreciate what we bring. They don't think that they've done it once so they can do better than me. That's not my ideal client. I'm not going to spend every single day trying to convince someone that they should work with us, right? Who thinks I can just do this better. Cool. Then you should go do that. Does that make sense? So I need you to think about also, like, it also then helps you with your marketing messages. Because I think we all either don't put anything on social media. Am I blinking out for you guys too?
You are.
Okay. I don't know why. I'm just sitting here, so I'm trying to figure that out. It might be our internet. Sorry. It's afternoon. Our internet gets really tired. I mean, I don't know a better way to say it. I think something's clearly going on here. But if you're going to market, it's really annoying actually. If you're going to market to clients, then you're going to be getting your USP out, right? Like if I'm going to be sending messages, if I'm going to be posting on social media, right? So if I work with first-time home buyers and move down sellers, my posts and messages should be relevant to them and why they should work with us, right? And then again, our own brand. So let's talk about some things in a word or short phrase. Like I want you guys, what do you think? And for lenders and realtors, because we got both on here, give me some examples of something that you, like when I say why they should pick you. Cedric, you don't get to disappear because I'll ask you to. Why they should pick you. What's an answer, right? Like really, like, you know, what do you do differently, or what's something that's unique about you, right? Let's really, and again, you can say, you say them or you've heard them said, and this is not to pick on anyone, but let's be clear on what's unique and what's not. All right, so Courtney, I'm going to pick on you first. What would you say sets you apart?
So I have a Really good comment. I tell them exactly what you just said, me.
Okay. All right. But you, so that's great. But what about you? So if I'm going to interview, and this is for everyone, right? If I'm going to go talk to 3 lenders, because that's what the world thinks you have to do and that we're supposed to tell you, which isn't true, by the way. But if I'm going to go talk to 3 lenders and you say it's you, I'm like, well, that's cool. But how does that help me? How do you help me?
So when I meet with my agents, I tell them our goal is we want to make you either 30% of your own money back in your pocket or 30% of your own time. Whether you're an agent that wants to increase your production or your production's fine, but you have no home life, we're going to help you do that. The way that we do that is we communicate really well. You never have to wonder where your process is on your files with us. You will get updates weekly from us. And as far as knowing where your clients are after closing, we do that for you as well. We'll continue to remind you. So even your clients post closing are going to be reminded of how much they love you and should be continuing to refer you. So our goal is through the next year after a closed loan to make sure clients are referring more clients to you.
Okay, so that's for the realtors. So that's your
Yeah.
value proposition for the realtors. What about if I just need a loan? Why
Oh,
should
so for
why should I work with you?
Oh, so my buyers, I tell them I don't just pre-qualify you to get you into a mortgage. I put you into a financial situation that is best for your life, whether it's for today or in 5 years. So you need to
Okay.
let me know what your goals are for today and what your goals are in the next 5 years so that I can analyze your full credit, income, and assets and tell you how we best need to structure your mortgage for your financial goals.
Okay. All right. So I think that's good, but I think we got to kind of shrink it a little bit, right? Like, because to me, it's like I need you. I'm a high D,
Mhm.
right? So like I'm eating M&Ms and I'm out, right? So no, just no, and again, this
Yeah.
is not to pick on anyone. This is I want you guys to really think about it because we talk about like we go and talk to realtors a lot and we say, okay, what makes you unique, right? And so we've got a lot of realtors on here too, and I kind of keep scripping screens, but I can see you, Renee, and I can see you all guys. So I'll be asking you guys too. But a lot of people will say negotiation, right? Which is kind of funny because in the last 3 years, let's be super honest, in most markets, not only did you not get to negotiate, they paid 100 grand over asking, they didn't get a home inspection, they couldn't have an appraisal, right? The house is trashed, but it's my negotiation, which is
Yep.
right. But that's a word, right? So like a lot of people will say, for example, I offer great customer service. So I'm going to give you guys some examples. What a lot of people say. Well, that's not bad. Like I offer great service, communication, integrity. Well, so to me, like not to be rude, but those are sort of like baseline expectations, right? Like to me, if someone's going to hire a professional, we need to, right? They're going to assume that we're communicative. Now, you all know that's not often the case, but an assumption is like I'm sorry, and I'm not picking on lenders either, but a lot of them will be like, well, I'll call you or your clients on Tuesday. So you're going to communicate with them. Oh, okay. That's your job, right? Like to me, it's like, so I think we've gotten used to, so like, right. So we're assumed that you're going to be honest. Like I feel like anytime someone's like, trust me, you should trust me. I'm like, ooh, that's okay. That's a problem because, all right. But right. They're assuming so that they're expecting that. So that wouldn't necessarily make any of us realtors or lenders stand out. So what a lot of people will also say, and you guys can nod your head if you're saying this, and some of you are not on camera, and then I have to switch around for screen. But a lot of people say it's technology. I'm very good with technology, right? And that's good. And then Renee's like, I'm not, because I can see, but that's good, right? But I want you to think about this. Ultimately, those tools are a means to an end, right? Like for the clients, it's not the benefit itself, right? The benefit to them is not that you're good at technology. It's what technology maybe can do. So I want you to think, so, and we all have access now. We're not all using AI. We all have access to similar technology. Now, our use of it or experience with it right now, but how it benefits the client, right? So I want you all to think about whatever, if it's technology, then, our tech tools streamline the process for you, making it super simple so you can sign documents wherever you are. You can save you hours of paperwork. Like we're going to streamline, we're going to be here with you for the relationship part, but the rest is going to be super easy on you, right? So it's the end goal for them that matters, right? So realtors also, how many of you say it's my local knowledge? I have great local knowledge. Now you should, because obviously I will argue all day long why it's important to work with a local realtor not someone from 2 hours away. It does matter. So that matters, right? But if everyone says I have local knowledge, you know, it's a fundamental skill, right? Like you should have, if you don't know your local area, that's a problem, right? So we should know our area. However, it's like, how do we define that better? Like, is it certain segments? I'm an expert in the $700,000 to $900,000 price point in our area, right? And I know how to stage and sell them for more money. Or I can identify investment strategies in this, right? Like, if we're going to talk about how we're expert locally, in what part, right? So I think we're very generic in things, right? Like, I'm passionate about real estate. Oh, well, okay. You know what I mean? That's not so much a differentiator. And then if any of you say this, I'm going to come through and smack you. So let's see if I can. I'm available 24/7. What? No, you're not. First of all, like, you're sleeping, and I don't want someone bothering me 24/7. Right now, I'm responsive. I will communicate with you in your preferred way of communicating. Like, if you love to text, we're going to text. I am going to make sure that we communicate in a way that's most effective for you, but I'm not available all the time, right? So, okay. So now you guys are going to get your notepads out. Okay. Right? And we're going to do an exercise so you guys can help identify this process. All right. I can see you, so make sure I see that you are getting this done. All right. Renee's doing it. I can't see all your notepads, but I'm going to assume. All right. You guys ready? So, number one, who is your ideal client? Okay. Who's your ideal client? So you're going to write this down. It's, you know, and I need you to be specific, right? I want you to be specific. And realtors and lenders. So realtors, you can be a refi client. It can be also a purchase client. For realtors, it's buyers and sellers. Yes. But like, specifically, who is your ideal client, right? Like, and I want you to really think about this. So take a minute. Because again, you didn't come here just to hear me talk and then leave. Right? So I can kind of like do, but I hear, who do you love working with? Right? Like, if you work with this type of client, like, you love working with them, they energize you. You feel like you provide them real value, right? Like, you come out of there going, damn, I made a difference, right? That's an ideal client. So think about, like, what characteristics do they have? Are there specific problems you're solving for them? Right? It can be demographic, geographic, it can be a million things, but you got to get really specific. And now my computer's doing this and I don't know how I did it. Okay. So, and you can write these down. You're not going to finish this in this short class, but you need to think about it. So who is your ideal client, right? So I want you to have a really specific thing that you could say in short, right? Like, my ideal client, one sentence, ultimately. Now, they can have many characteristics. Like, our ideal client is like, you know, probably 12 bullets, wants to pay us, appreciates us. Like, those are all characteristics. But then let's get more specific in that ideal client, right? Who it is. Does anyone want to share? Anyone want to say what you wrote down? All right, Christiane, who do you got? Who's your ideal client? You'll have to unmute.
So
I have,
yeah. I have two. My first ideal client is a first-time home buyer. I think I'm really good at educating them throughout the process and about home ownership in general. And then my next ideal client is someone who already owns a home and is looking to sell and purchase a new home for whatever reason. And the reason why that's one of my ideal clients is I really like helping them to prepare their home for market. And I utilize one of the Better Homes and Gardens programs to talk up how amazing I am at that.
Excellent. So super specific, right? Like, she likes a seller who needs to buy. She likes a first-time home buyer. By the way, in the same way, I love a downsizing seller. I love someone who has a lot of crap and is very nervous and needs a lot of help, because I will dig in and help them, right? It is very satisfying to me. So let's see. I'm going to pick. So Cleo, you're not on camera, but I'm going to pick on you unless he's not there now. All right, John Clark. Who's your ideal client?
Ideal client is someone that's purchasing probably their second home, has 20% down, but it took them a long time to like save that money. So maybe strategies, show them strategies on, does it make sense to put all that down? Does it make sense to maybe put 15% down and be able to help them plan for their next goals?
Nice. See, that's very specific. I like that. All right, let's pick one more person. Hold on. How about Richie?
So on the on the agent side, I would say condo agents that do 6 or more buy-side agents a year. And then on the consumer side, I would say condo investors that own at least one existing investment condo property.
Okay. So again, very specific. So then for each of you, and you guys have yours written down. So if you think about that, like if we're getting clear, and we're going to have a lot more on this, so we're going to answer a lot more questions to put everything together. But I want you to really think about if you're figuring out who your ideal client is, would they know based on your messaging, your social, right? Like if I go on your social, Richie, or whatever platforms, or if you're teaching a class, or if you're on YouTube, am I going to be learning about investing in condos, selling my right? Are you talking about this? Because a lot of us are like, yep, this is what I'm really good at, but there's no messaging that would attract me to you because I'm not talking about it. Does that make sense? Like whatever it is that, and then whether, and that messaging is not only on it's on our website, it's on our social media, it's in our materials, it's in anything we're doing. It's what we put on YouTube, right? That is our messaging for our ideal client. So I want you guys to think about it, because all of us knowing it, like I'm really good at this, is great. But if we haven't conveyed this and no one else knows it, then you're sort of like the best ideal client secret agent on earth, right? And that's not the goal. So I want you guys to think, so that's step one, right? Favorite clients, their specific needs, their challenges, things like that. Okay, so question 2, you've identified, so if it's a first-time home buyer or a condo buyer or whoever it is, what specific problem do you consistently solve for this client? Because remember, why do people work with us? They have a problem, we have to solve it, right? So what specific problems are you consistently solving for this client's? Right? So if you think about it, like a prompt could be when your ideal client comes to you, so that first time home buyer, that condo, whoever it is, what is the pain that they're in that you're trying to help them with, right? What keeps them up at night? What are they freaking out about? What are they scared of, right? Like, what is it? So I want you to take a moment and really think about that, and how we're going to help solve that problem for that ideal client. So take a minute and look at that. So again, you guys are going to keep working on this, but I want you to think about it. So like, I agree. So I also love a first-time home buyer. So some people just can't stand it. I love them. I do. I love them. I love their neediness. I love that they have a million questions. I love that that in the end, they're so appreciative. I love that I know that I've set them on this course of home ownership, right? And I love that it's been 30 years that I've been doing this, and I have some of them that now have kids, and I'm working with family members, and I do my annual reviews. I'm just doing this month's annual reviews, and I'm seeing hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity, and I feel proud of that, right? That's something I love. So if you think about it, first time home buyers, right? So what are some problems? So some of them are more emotional, but think about it. They have overwhelm and anxiety. So a problem is they don't know where to start. They literally don't know where to start. Do they start with you, or do they start with a lender? They don't know the process, right? They don't know the steps. So really, if you're going to be advising first-time home buyers, it's like, hey, first step, let's set a consultation, right? And by the way, when you guys, I'm sure you've seen this on social media, because Sharon's, I've got this on there and everything, but we all in open houses and we're asking buyer, are you working with an agent, right? He's like, that's the dumbest question ever, right? The question is, have you sat down with anyone for 45 minutes and talked about what it takes to buy or sell in this market? that we're in now. Like, duh, like think about it. Same thing, framing. So, they don't know financing. They don't know, what a home inspection. Plus we all talk in letters, the PMI of the and they're like, I don't know what that means. Right. So they don't understand like finding the right lender. Do they need to get pre-approved? Right. Think about that. And then do I need to do an inspection? What do I have an appraisal? Right. Think about it. And then, oh my gosh, am I going to buy a lemon? Right. They've not done a home inspection. They don't know home ownership. They've never had to do it. Right. So what are real costs of home ownership? Right. Like what if something comes up? Oh God, a first time home buyer thinks it needs a new roof. That's $90,000. Right. I'm like, no, I got a guy that'll do it for 10. Right. So like they need that guidance. Right. And they're afraid about like getting in over their heads. So we got to put ourselves right. How do we solve a problem? And then for my move down sellers, right. Think about, I've lived in this house for 30 years. Right. How do I prep this house? How do I get rid of my stuff? How do I get this house ready? Where do I put my money before I'm going to put this house on the market? How do I price the home properly? And what if I don't want to do any work, right? Gosh, I haven't made any improvements for so long. What happens if something comes up? Think about, we put ourselves in that step, right? So if you guys, what is the problem you're solving, right? So I want you to think about that. So let's ask a couple people. So let's ask somebody different. All right, we're going to ask Renee. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Marjorie.
So who is your ideal client and what problems are you solving for them?
My ideal client is downsizers, so usually oldies, with or divorcing people with money, people that have flexible time and they don't have to meet on weekends and evenings. People who listen to me and trust me to handle all the details and let me refer them to my pro vendors. And you can have all the first time home buyers. You guys, y'all, you can have them.
I'll take them.
You take them and I'll take the oldies. And I'll listen to their stories. They go on for hours. I'll take the 3-hour appointment.
What problem? So, okay, so what specific problems? So pick one. So for your divorcing clients, so if I call you and I'm getting a divorce, I'm calling 3 realtors. What specifically are you going to help me with in this massively difficult situation I'm in right now?
I like divorces because if you do it right, you can triple dip.
But you're not going to tell them that, right? Like we all know that. We're like, woo, like, we're all like, great, 3 sales. But if I'm the client, right, you're not going to be like, here, Marjorie, I'm really excited you're getting a divorce because I am going to sell your house and sell 2 more, which is going to be extremely lucrative for me. So while it's really painful for you, I'm actually really kind of, right? Like you would never say it. So what problem are you solving?
Your new best life. Yep, you're both going to get your new best life. The problem that they have is the same one I think that they all have. It's the problem of overwhelm and where to start, right? And how to. But
it's also, think about if I'm getting a divorce, I hate him, right? Because he cheated on me, that little, I won't say. So I hate him. I want to make sure I get, right? Think about if you're going through a divorce. Well, how does this work? And how does the money get split? And one of us isn't in the house. And how are we going to sell this? And how are you going to communicate with both of us? And I don't, like you've got to manage a lot of pissed off people, right? So it's like, hey, I am going to get this done for you both to make sure that your goals are achieved. This is how we're going to communicate. Do we want to be on the same? Am I texting you separately? Like I'm going to manage this so that we get you through this as painlessly as possible, that I'm directing this and telling you both what you need to do, whether it's together or separately, but we're going to make this like that's the problem, right? So it's like, I'm not going to get emotionally hijacked in this, right? Like you get to feel the emotions. I'm guiding you through this, right? I'm here to listen to you, but I'm here to get this done because you both made very clear that this is the goal, right? So I think that's what I mean, right? Like for all of you guys in your specifics, a specific problem, we all have and moving sucks. So really the specific problem could just be moving sucks. Everyone knows that, but like, we've got to verbalize this, right? So that's why I wanted to be like, here's why you want to work with me, right? Like I won't get emotionally hijacked. Really, right? Like I'm here to listen to you and I'm going to make this as easy as possible for you guys to get through this. I'm going to guide you with honesty and clarity and communication and how we need to do this. but I'm not going to sit with you and like get into the mud, because what we need to do is get this house sold for you and the kids, right?
Yep.
Like, I think we got to think about, how do we communicate that? That's what I'm talking about. That's the specifics, right? For them, not for us. Internal specifics, like I love this because it's lucrative or whatever it is great. Externally, it's because I specialize in helping these families that are going through this miserable time in their life get through this, right, in a respectful and, you know, straightforward way, whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Yep. And I
That's
have the
what-
people to help you do it.
Right. And I have the team to help you get it done, right? Does
Yeah.
that make sense to you guys? Like, that's how we are, that's how we're going to solve that problem, right? So that's the problem. So then the third is, if we know who our ideal client is and we know what their problem is, what's your specific approach or method to solve the problem? What are you going to do specifically to help them solve the problem, right? So how do you do things differently, better, or more specifically than all the other realtors I could contact? You specifically, right? Like, so, right? So is it a unique tool you offer? Is it a proprietary process you offer? Right? Is it a collaboration or expertise? Like, if I'm a divorce, I could say I'm a certified divorce specialist, whatever, or that I team up with, you know, if I'm doing an estate that, you know, I know all of the, for an estate, right, or people that are moving down, it's like, I know all the junk removal services. I know where you can donate everything. I can even come to your house and pick up your towels for the SPCA. I can help you get rid of everything in a real thoughtful way, right? Like, what is it that we're teaching them, right? And what's unique to us? And this is where, guys, you got to start learning to name things, right? Like, you've got to have a proprietary process for whatever you do. So I'm a big fan of like a 7-step. So we have our 7-step listing launch. It literally has a launch, right? Our 5-step social media pre-marketing before the home is listing, right? So you've got to name them, because when you name them, it gives it kind of that proprietyness. So for you guys, what's your unique approach or method, right? And it's got to be not just, I have a checklist. That's awesome. But what is in that checklist that's going to help them get it done, right? So I've developed a proprietary 7-step first-time home buyer roadmap, right, that I'd love to show you. And it's got videos and everything that are going to explain the process to you before we even meet. Like, some of this I'm making up, right? Like, so like, if you're an investor, you could say that you have an inclusive. So right now I saw Angela. So like, Angela is the queen of her business affiliates group. She has attorneys and she gets a ton of business from them because of the relationships, right? So she has an invitation only network, right, of individuals that she gives them value and they give her value. So there's a way she can say it, right? But that's for her. So, right, like, some people say I have this effective off market listings, you know, system, whatever it is, right? So your background in X. So for us, my brother's a licensed home inspector. I don't know of any other realtor, insanely, and that has a licensed inspector as part of the team. So every house gets a pre-inspection. Every visit to a house, Jacques is doing little inspections, right? We're going to make sure they know what they're getting into before they write an offer. That's different, right? So if you have a staging program, you can't just say, I stage your house. I have a 10-step, right, staging process, or whatever you're going to call it. So I want you guys to think about, you've either got to have like developed an app or have a unique process, or you got to name it. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, it has to be something that's proprietary or special or unique. So a person on your team, connections that you have, a system that you work, whatever it is, right? Does that make sense for you guys? So I want you guys, and again, you name it and it becomes special. Just saying, I'm going to stage your home, cool. But like, if everyone says they do it now, which they don't, right? Like, how do we name this? How do we and point out to them? Does that make sense? So do you guys have something, like, anyone who wants to, is there something that you would say is a unique approach or method that you guys use that you can share for your, right, that sets you apart? Or do we all need to create one?
I've got one like rolling around in my brain.
Okay. Well-
So this would be preparing people for preparing their house to sell. Would be something I'm trying to think of something along the lines of like preparing for opening night. I kind of already have like a list of like, you know, this week we do this and this week we do this, and then 5 days before and 4 days before. And but I'm kind of trying to think of a way to like connect it to theater and like opening night of a show.
Because that's your niche and those are your people. So again, I think your people that you work with are a lot of in theater. So again, like a lot of people that work in sports, right? Like sports to me, like I would be the one wearing the shirt that says sports. I just, people like, you watching the game? I'm like, I don't know what season it is. But like, so
Go
if you were into
sports.
sports and your clients are into sports, then you should have a playbook. You should reach out to you for your playbook on how to get something done. Speak the language of the people, right? So for you, you know, you're gonna have different acts. Let's talk about our first act or whatever it is. Let's kind of make that different, right? So I want you to think about your again. So we're good at guidance. All right, that's great. But so is everyone in theory. So how do we have, right? What does it matter that Jock's an inspector? So, right, it's like unmatched, on the spot, honest identification of issues they could have in their home. He knows more than anyone else, right? So, you know, our full buyer consultation requirement is different than a lot of people, right? So, but what does that mean to them? You know, I think you got to think about that. So, does that make sense? So, that's the number 3, right? What are those unique processes? Number 4, what's the tangible outcome or benefit the client receives from your unique approach? What benefit do they get in the end for working with you, right? So after working with you, how does this client's life change for the better, right? So specifically and measurably. Like you can't just be like, they got a house. Well, in theory, any realtor they work with, they're going to get a house. And for you lenders, in theory, any of the persons getting a loan, they got a loan. Yes, that's their ultimate goal. But how did we make their life better? What did they achieve? Financial independence, right? Finally having their home to raise their family. Like, what is the end goal, right? So I want you to think about that. Like if I'm selling my home, I want to have maximum, right? I want a maximum property value achieved. Like I want to take that money for my next end goal of my next home that I need to buy. So I want you to really think about what is it, right? That's the tangible they can feel, not you, them, right? So I think you need to think about it. For us, it's a long-term relationship that they know, like we are always here. We have clients call us 25 years after to come over because the HVAC person is there. They need help with this. It's for us, it's a long-term value that we're always going to be there for them when they need us, always, right? That we want to be that person that they call first, right? So we got to have like a comprehensive answer to that, right? What are those things, right? So I need you to think about that too. The tangible outcome the client receives, not you, the client receives, right? So investors, right? Why do people invest in homes? Because they want to show up at 10 o'clock at night and fix the pipes? Because they want to have to mow the yard, right? Like
for long-term financial stability.
consistent passive income and portfolio growth. When you work with us, you're going to be able to have passive income. Hate your job, right? We're going to help you if you invest in these homes. Let's share with you how you can have consistent passive income. Because otherwise owning rental properties is problems, right? Like it's not that fun all the time, right? So, right, relocating families care about lifestyle, not just home. So let's give them a lifestyle tour before we go show them homes. So these are the things, right? And then ultimately, just so you guys know, we take all of this and we put our UVP statement together, right? With those elements, right? So a simple formula you guys can write down because you're like, well, that's a lot. But a simple formula, so you can write this, is I help, then fill in ideal client. So I help this ideal client achieve, and then their tangible outcome or benefit, right? So I help fill an ideal client achieve, what are they achieving? This tangible outcome or benefit by unique approach or method. So I'll say it one more time. I help ideal client, filling it in, achieve whatever that benefit is, right? Outcome or benefit by filling it in, right? So I worked on this too, because I was like, all right, so, you know, what are great things that like we can say, right? Like, what why statements, right? So we guide clients who value expertise. Now, some of this is super wordy. Like I just threw this in before the class, right? So I got to take this down. But really, they were like, okay, a why statement, right? Is clients choose us because we believe real estate should be a journey of absolute confidence and lifelong trust, not anxiety, uncertainty. We combine unparalleled inspector-backed expertise with a transparent, systematic process, ensuring you make the right decisions, avoiding costly surprises, and gain a partner who treats you like family. Way too freaking long. That's way too long, right? But like, what is it that they benefit, right? So for us, we talked about like, we really want to have them, we want them to have peace of mind knowing they made the right decision. They've got lifelong partnership, right? Seamless and supported homeownership beyond the sale, right? So we've got to think about like putting it all together. What's the benefit to them? Because we're all really bad at it. We are like, we're really, I think when we go into a meeting, right, with a client, we're big on feature benefit, right? Like we can throw a bunch of stuff at them, but it's like, what is it that they need and how are we solving the problem better than anyone else? So that's for me where it's like, okay, we want to kind of come up with a statement, a shorter statement. And by the way, you have one for, again, lenders, for your refinance clients. Maybe it's your purchase clients, right? Maybe it's your high dollar clients, whatever it may be, right? Like, so there can be different statements for those ideal clients, right? It doesn't have to be one, but I need you to have clarity because here's the reality. I think right now, in my opinion, as time is continuing, I think you're going to have to go deeper relationship, higher service, more specialization, or you're going to get cheaper. If anyone else can think of another option, you let me know, but I haven't seen it. I have seen higher service, more clarity, specialization in what I offer, or I'm going to be cheaper. And I think you think about it because realtors, when we're competing, you better offer more, right? Or you got to answer why that person's going to do it for, I'm going to make up a number of percent. Let's not get stuck on a number. You know, will you? No, but why not? You can't just be like, because of my negotiation, right? Like you've got to demonstrate really clear things that make a difference, right? And that's where that unique value proposition comes. And it can't be not unique, right? We all like to pick a word, but if we all say the same thing, it's not unique, right? Does that make sense? So I want you guys to, and here's the thing, AI can help you. So I don't know how many of you aren't using AI, but you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs if you're not. So you literally could take what you've written down now as a start, right? And say, okay, so I'm working on figuring this out, right? I'm working on, here's some things that I've decided it, or here's my ideal client. Ask me some questions, right, on how I can create this unique value proposition, and it'll do it, right? And it will tell you, that's great, but everybody says that. Like AI got a little sarcastic in here, right? AI was like, by the way, all the realtors say this, it's not unique, right?
I just posted my AI.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to go to the chat. All right, let me look. Oh, yeah. Right? Yep. Yeah. And it's what the clients want, how you deliver it. And again, it's not a super mystery. Like most people kind of want the same thing, but how they want it, and then of course how they want it delivered. But again, if someone says, I'm not interested in everything you have to say, I just want someone to come put a sign in the yard, I'm going to do what I want because I've done this once before. That's not my ideal client, right? Like that's not going to go well. So I think the sooner we can identify that and verbalize it, and put it in our marketing messages and everything else, we start attracting that, right? Like if you love working with first-time home buyers, the more that you're educating first-time home buyers, you'll get more first-time home buyers. Now, if you hate the first-time home buyers, don't do that because you'll get more first-time home buyers. But for you guys, it's like, what are you really good at? Like, what's your super genius? I want you to think about that as you're trying to figure this out. Like if you hate educating, like I love a listing appointment. I will sit there for 2.5 hours. If they have questions and they're struggling with something and I'm interviewing them and they're interviewing me right back, I have no patience for anything, but I can do that all day long. That's value, right? I would rather than let's collaborate. How are we going to fix this? And let's get this person over there and let's set this up. And I'm going to help you with this. Don't worry about that. I want to be jumping in the mud with them. If you don't want to do that, you figure out your way, right? But someone who's just like, doesn't care what I think. Ooh, Veronica, I feel like, do you have a hand up? That's very efficient.
I do.
Okay, let's
So
hear
I
it.
do have some realtor meetings, and I've been meeting with them, and I ask them that, well, who's your ideal client? And they can't answer that question. They're just kind of like all over the place.
But do you know
And
why? Like if you think about right now, like let's be honest, as the last couple of years have happened and the market's been harder, the ideal client has gotten much more lax. Like when buyers are just and sellers are like falling on trees, right? You're on the highway and they're just jumping in your car and you're like, oh, whatever. But now it's harder. And so I think people are willing to stretch that boundary. Like we got people putting people in the car who aren't even qualified, right? That you've got people falling out of contracts because there wasn't enough consultation. So that's really a waste of time, but it's this desperation. And I think right now when it's harder, people will put up with more and they're not as clear. And I think the irony is you're just putting your, like, then you hate it more because you're working with people that don't appreciate you, don't want to pay you, right? And then look, every client has the right to ask you what you charge. They have a right to get what they feel they need to get out of your service, right? But I think we can't demonstrate it. We're not clear on it, right? Like I said, like, what's your genius? Like, what are you really good at? I want to attract more than that. That's what I want to attract. Like for me, it's like, this is who I am. Like I got a bunch of tattoos. I'm pretty blunt. I'm very fun. I am very fun. I will probably not say a bad word here, but I will cut a, you know what, if someone's going to mess with someone that I love or one of my clients, like you aren't going to do it. I'm very protective, right? But if someone says, look, I don't care about any of that, you're a means to an end, that doesn't work for me. So, but again, I think we gotta, if someone says ideal client, it should be, like I said, is it price point? Is it geographically? Like I work a certain geographic area. That's it. I don't go out of my bubble because I don't know it. So I'm not driving 3 hours to sell someone a house because gosh knows I could sell you in a neighborhood that will never appreciate because I don't know it. And then I'm going to feel terrible. I'm just not going to do that. So again, how are they going to treat you? So we've had several $1 million clients call into our team and be rude to team members. I do not work with them. It ain't going to get nicer after the second phone call. So I expect mutual respect, right? I'm going to be very respectful to you, but you're going to be respectful for me. So I think those are all things, the more clear we're on it and the more we're clear on who we help really well and how we demonstrate that with benefit to them, right? Because a lot of us are just going to say, like, I've sold a lot of houses too, but if people only care that I've sold almost $600 million worth of real estate, then wouldn't everyone work with me? Right? Like if it just mattered, then no one would ever pick a new agent. No one would ever pick someone else. So it's like, it has to be this, I got to demonstrate that I'm competent, but I have to be competent in a way that you want me to be. Otherwise, you're not going to hire me. So I think we just don't spend enough time on that. And we don't appreciate our value enough. And so then we diminish our value, right? Or we end up going. And so I ask people before I even will walk in their house who I'm competing with, right? What's the biggest question they have for me? Do they have questions about commissions? Because I don't work for free, right? So I'd rather get that taken care of and make it clear. And I think a lot of us hide from things like that. And I think we just need to own it, right? Oh, Veronica, I think, has another question.
so for me, it's I don't work well with buyers that are shoppy. I don't waste my time on it. So either they know they're going to work with me, they're going to trust that I'm going to give them the best deal, because I'm not going to discuss interest rates on our initial consultation since it doesn't apply to them because they're not under contract.
So here's the thing. So what you could do is say, hey, you were referred to me by Richie, right? Richie said that you needed to call me, or I needed to call you. Awesome. So I have a quick questionnaire I need you to fill out before we set up a call, right? And put them through something, right? That means, because to me, like, if they're going to fill that out, what's the barrier? And I don't make it hard. Like, please, if I'm on your website, don't make me fill something out because I'm out. But my point is, oh, we're going to have this meeting. This meeting's important. Here's the things I need you to have prepared. This is what we're going to discuss. This is how I work. Any questions about that? Awesome. Then we're right. If they're like, I just need the rate, and you know that's not you, they didn't make a barrier to entry. So each of us, though, can have a completely different barrier to entry. There's not one, right? Like each of our listing processes can be very different, right? Danielle can have a super different, and so can Dallas, and so can Angela. They can all be different, but they're our process, right? But they should be clarity on our expectations too. Like, when I sit down at a listing appointment and I say, good, let's start with your interview questions, and then I'm going to interview you.
So Marjorie, how can I make that a positive statement? Instead of just coming out as direct as I was.
Right. Oh, no. So, hey, so I'm so excited that I get to have this opportunity to talk to you and work with you. So I have found I'm 30 years. I know in my 30 years in to really maximize the time that we're going to spend on the phone. And for me to make sure I can guide you to the best loan for you and your family, I've got these questions I'm going to have you fill out. So we're going to set up a Zoom for whatever time it is, right? We're going to set up a Zoom or come into my office. I do all of my consults on Zoom or in the office. I've got some questions that if you send this information to me, we are going to be able to get right to the heart of your needs so that I'm sure I can help you. So I'm going to send that over to you, and then we're going to chat, and then we can get into all the questions that you have. Right? It's a benefit to them because, again, I don't want to waste my time either, right? But so if they're like, no, I don't want to have a Zoom. So if a buyer says to me, I just want to see a house, I'm not going to Zoom. Well, I need to have a buyer agency agreement, and I'm not signing one with you until I know that we're going to work well together. Someone else said they'd show me the house. Well, good. Right? I mean, again, what is your process? And again, I believe my time is valuable. I believe my advice is valuable. So that means to me that there's some basic benchmarks that we should meet, right? And you guys need to feel that way too, and whatever they are. Now, some people are like, I'm cool with it. I'll meet them outside and I'm going to talk for 15 minutes before I get in. Well, that means I've driven across town. I don't want to do that. But if you do, great. But you got to have it signed before you go in. So again, there's not a one size fits all on who our ideal client is, what we're willing to tolerate, what we charge. That's the best part about what we do. Veronica could say that, and like Richie could be like, I would never do that. Awesome. Cool. But if you know this is what works for me, this is how I have to do it. I know I have to take control. I might have gotten frozen. Did I freeze?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're still talking. We can
I
still
know,
hear you.
but I'm very, there I am.
There you are.
Does that make sense? I mean, I think we don't spend a lot of time on this, right? I think we spend a lot of time on other things, but I don't think, like, I don't know how many of you guys have really sat down, like, even through your processes. Like, maybe I'm weird, but I mean, when I sat and was like, we were forming the team years ago, it was like, this is how we answer the phone. This is what we say here. This is how, when we go to a house, this is how we do it. If a buyer gets in our car, this is how we do it. We have their snacks for them. If they have kids, I have little movies they can watch. I'm now, like, with our listings, super fun. We do, like, you can take a photo and turn it into a coloring book page, right? So we can have coloring book pages. Like, I want it to be, if it's a listing with kids, I want to give them a checklist so the kids help keep their rooms clean, right? And then they can get a little snack and whatever else their parents want them to do, not my problem. But, like, how can I make this frictionless, right? Have you guys ever done a friction audit? So I don't know if you guys know who the Savannah Bananas are. They are awesome. But that guy, like 5 years ago, came and did a talk in a little office I was in, and he said he does a friction audit, right? So any process, calling you, texting you, meeting with you, the first time their house is going to go on the market, the photos, what are the friction points that take away from the service that we want to provide? And then how do we fix them? Right? So we know buyers are scared about a home inspection. They're, and by the way, like, something isn't screwed in right and the house is going to fall down. So how do we prepare them for that? How do we have a video and we have a conversation. We tell them every house has something, right? Even new homes, but we're going to sit and we're going to go over all of them and we're going to decide, you're going to go forward or you're not, because you don't have to. Like, we're going to have full consultation. We give them a really cool toolbox when they come to the inspection. Like, we have our process and snacks and water, right? And we tell them, like, you know, if you don't care how an AC works, you don't have to listen to those parts. What's your friction audit, right, for you guys? So there's all these things, but take the time to do it because it makes it more fun. Like, I have a lot of fun. Again, I'm a little weird, but I have a lot of fun. So you guys do that, like, have more fun. Like, I'm not even gonna tell you what I'm doing with the googly eyes right now. I'll show you some point, but like, I think we all need to have a better time, but we also need to be just clear. And maybe it's that I'm now turning 54 this year, but there's just stuff I'm not going to put up with anymore. And I know, like, Angela, I know you're there. Danielle, you're too young. Danielle's not quite ready yet. Dallas, I'm sure. I'm like, Jessica, I don't know you, so I don't know how. But I mean, we have to get to a point where, like, this is how we want it to go. Does that make sense?
Marjorie, I think too, this is Angela. I think a lot of agents, and maybe this goes back to Veronica, we spend so much time prepping and getting ready to have the perfect listing appointment. And then we have this great rapport and it feels like we got it. This is it. And I think for a lot of sellers, we're just in information overload. They think they know everything. They bought and sold like 18 years ago in a different state. And they're kind of like, And I think sometimes they just stymie out because there's no follow-up afterwards. One of the things that our specialty is we make sure the very next day or that afternoon, depending on the time of the appointment, they get a recap that we can track every time they've gone in and looked or seen or done anything. It's kind of sneaky. And it has, again, these were the comps, so you can see the pictures from what we talked about. This is your net sheet, and this is your homework list. It's very dumbed down. It's very simple. And it's amazing because it gives them a place. They all go, after they look at the net sheet, they all go right to that homework list. And so we know they're working on it. We know that we've given them a starting point. What's the next step? Because I think more often than not, they're just kind of like, I know I need to do stuff, but where do I start? Even though we just told them, we spent 2 hours with them, but they're still like, you know, their little feet are just going and they're doing a whole lot of nothing. And it's the homework list is the like top 3, 4, 5 things that we want them to focus on. And then we say below it, as a reminder, here's the 8 things we're going to do. You don't have to worry about this. That starter kit of boxes we said we'd bring over, when do you want us to drop them? We're going to make your life easy. We're going to help you get that first box packed. And so I think that's why we have been very, very successful in being listing heavy, is because then they're not going, oh, now they're talking to 14 other people over the next 3, 4 days. Cousin Joey says, I just got my license yesterday. And they end up going, we loved Marjorie. She was amazing. We spent the best 2 hours of our life, but we really think we should probably go with Cousin Joey for loyalty's sake. No, they just start working on our list. They're not talking to everybody. And then we follow up and say, okay, let's get that paperwork handled.
Well, I think that the here's the next step is always important, right? Here's the next step, because again, we've given them, so I've dialed way back. I have a lot of content in the folder, in their pre-list packet, in things that we leave them, but we're really working on, here's what you got to do first. And then this is what the next step is. So if you guys always think about, here's the next step, right? And you can video text that as well, right? But here's the next step, because you're right. You're like, how many times are all you guys like, I already told them that. It's like, yeah, but you told them 87,000 things, right? Like, so if that's right, if we're here to educate and consult, right? Well, then we got to do it in a way they understand. Veronica.
I think it's getting down to the why do you think that? Why do you believe that? Where did you hear that? Getting down to the why they feel that way. And then we can answer the question instead of just throwing out a bunch of information that probably is there. They didn't want to know. They want to know, well, this is what I know. This is what I believe. This is why I feel I should do it this way. And then you can get to, okay, well, this is the educate them based off of what they know, and let them know why this is a better way to go.
Yeah. I mean, again, nobody wants to be told what to do or that they're wrong. That's the worst, right? Like, no, you're wrong. I don't think we're going to get very far. But that's where I think really this is where, again, kind of wrapping everything up. all of us have something we do that's different or unique. We're just really bad at demonstrating it. And like, I want you to think about it like you're packaging it in a little package, and you're putting a bow around it, and you're saying, here, this is why you should work with me, not with blah, 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 and I sell for 102% of. Great. Like everyone talks about, I've sold 1,800 homes. Awesome. That's a lot. Someone might be like, damn, she's old. Like, think about that, right? Like, I think it means, well, why the heck wouldn't you work with it? Someone else might be like, she is ancient, probably can't use a computer. Like, what's their perspective? Really, right? So it's like, what do they care about? What is it? And by the way, I've sold 1,800 homes is about who? Me. Now, what I'm thinking I'm saying is, hey, dumbass, I've sold 1,800 homes. I know how to do this up, down, and sideways. I've got you. No one else is going to do better because I've been through every crazy scenario on earth. I can tell you anything that can go wrong with a septic tank. I can tell you a story about someone that fell in one. Like, I know it, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, look at me. I'm a cubic circle. You know what I mean? Like, how we deliver the package is important, right? So I need you guys to think about like relevant to them always, right? Because that's all they care about, right? And our values are not theirs. They're not our ideal client. And I'd rather find that out really early, not when I've invested a ton of time. So if you guys take your time, use your little AI friend, whatever you've named them or whoever you're working with, and you take this and say, okay, right, like what sets me apart? So, right, who's my ideal client? Right, go through these exercises. And then what's your unique approach? What's the tangible benefit they get? How do I put this all together into a clear statement that then I know I need to market in my different avenues to attract that person I'm trying to work with? If we boil it down, it's really that simple. It's just not that simple because I think we don't necessarily demonstrate something that just makes us different enough. Right? Does anyone have any questions before you all go on with whatever it is you're doing today? Fun with family, working. I'm doing some annual reviews right now, whatever it is. Any questions for me? All right. Is everyone going to commit to actually doing this exercise before you go? It's 3 o'clock here. I'm about to go to a listing and everything, but are we going to do it? Or are we going to go, man, that class was pretty good. Like, I know I got to do it. Are you going to do it? Yes.
So we're supposed to write down, I help the ideal client achieve tangible benefits by unique approach method. And so we're putting is this just for us, or are we putting this on social media, or what are we doing?
To me, this is your clarity that you're able to, because if someone walks up to you, like, again, how many of us are like, if you know anyone who needs to buy or sell, really? Anyone that needs to buy, or do you really want them all? I don't. Like, I will tell my clients right out, any of your friends or family that you love that, you know, wants a realtor that's going to take them through this process. But if they're one of those friends or family that you avoid when they call you, I do not need you to send them to me. I'm not kidding. I don't want them. But it's like, okay, so do you know anyone? So when you guys are making your calls, think about this, right? Like, do you know anyone right now who is looking in this market to purchase their first home? And they have a lot of questions about that. I would love to do a consultation with them for about 45 minutes to teach them what it takes to buy in this market and see if it's the right time. Who do you know? Do you know anyone right now who's been in their home a long time and is needing to downsize? The home's just not working for them and it's a lot of stress on them, and they need someone who can come in and take care of everything for them and guide them through that process, right? To get them to the next step with care and consideration. I would love to meet with them. Who do you know? Right? We're all like, do you know anyone on earth? Money, no money, whatever. So let's get real specific. And how did I do that? Those were my ideal clients, right? So we can put it in our phone calls. We put it in our content. So I'm about to launch a series, it's a video series on putting the real in real estate. And I'm literally like, if your house smells like 50 cats, I'm going to tell you. Like, I'm just not messing around anymore, right? Like, Zillow is not the true value of your home. Sorry. So because I'm kind of, I'm educative and blunt, but it's like, that's how we're demonstrating it. Like first time home buyer guides that they can download. So you're going to demonstrate it in a bunch of ways. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Those of you I can't see as well, but the good news for my students, you're going to get to turn it in. Woo! Because then I know you did it. If you're not my student, I can't make you turn it in, but you can certainly send it to me if you want. And yes, when we get on the coaches calls, I'll definitely let the coaches know that they should maybe have you guys do them as well. Yay! But seriously, I think it's for you. Like, I give you this to do, it's not for me. So let's be clear. If you don't do it, ultimately, it doesn't change my life, but it can certainly get you some clarity in how you're going to attract people in your businesses. Okay. All right, my peeps. You guys have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. If you guys need anything, you reach out, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.